Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chris. I just wanted to share with you something that the teens have been working on, and just give you a little bit of an introduction so that you have an understanding of what we've been exploring with Christmas and the story of Christmas. As we were reading the story of Christmas, we had decided to really take a close look at all the people that God placed in the Christmas story. To look deeper into the characteristics of who they really were. Joseph. We talked about what Joseph endured and what he chose to do in his journey on the path to God. And we talked about Mary. We talked about all of Mary's choices and how she so faithfully and courageously took those steps toward the Christ. And without those steps, there would be no Christmas story. We talked about the shepherds and their role in society and their role in the story and how they were chosen by God, by the angel, that they were shared the good news and how they responded. We talked about the wise men and the royalty. And we talked about the angel and the role that the angels played in this story. And we also talked about the innkeeper and the characteristic of the innkeeper and the innkeepers, the ones that refused to allow the story to come, and the one that was able to make room for the story to happen. So with all of these characters, we discussed not only what they were about in their lives and how they operated through the story, but then we took it a step further and I asked them to think about their own lives and where they see those characters in their own life. We all have the same story, and we all have a Mary, a Joseph, a shepherd, an angel, maybe many of all of those people. And it's just fascinating to me and a really neat revelation for our group to realize that this is a much bigger story. It plays out in all of our lives. And the kids did such a beautiful job of just really deeply looking into their own lives and thinking of people that have crossed their paths or that are deeply embedded in their lives. And they very courageously shared some of those people on a video for you. And Sammy spent so much time and investment editing and basically producing this video for you. So she deserves all the credit, and of course nothing could have been done without our amazing Greg. So that's where the credit is, and to the kids that really went out of their safe zone to share. And the other thing I wanted to add is that today we are going to explore, and some of the kids actually touched on this, we're going to explore those characteristics and with the new year coming, who they're going to choose to be in other people's lives. It's very touching if you think about it. And some of them are already feeling like they are some of those characters, which is wonderful. But maybe others and you might think, I want to be an angel to people. I want to be more encouraging. I want to step out of my safety zone and do more or serve more. Or I need to engage with this person that I've been holding back on. Things like that. So that's what we're going to move forward with this Christmas story and just explore just all these different perspectives that I think really God wanted to share with us in that story as well. Okay, so here's a few of them. We've got some beautiful teens up there, and they're going to be sharing some personal stuff, and it's beautiful. So we hope you enjoy. Take it in, be blessed. and may you actually learn from them.
Have you ever thought about the characters of the Christmas story? Each of them plays a role in the coming of Christ. I wonder if God placed them perfectly in this profound and powerful birth for a reason. Perhaps to show us the traits and trials He calls us through for His kingdom. Each one plays so carefully in their purpose. Each one plays their significant part in the story of Christ and God's plan. And I wonder, are we those characters? Do we see traits of any of these people in you? In someone you know? Maybe God was sharing with us through His Son's birth a story much bigger than the illuminated Eve of the Christ child. Could it be that within the pieces and parts of the plot, He was showing us what role we would play? Maybe the picture of the Christmas story is really the picture of the story of us. Whether we are robed in royalty and stand in mighty majestic courts, or labor tirelessly in the vast and visceral fields. Whether we are simply a boy or a girl placed in a town trying to abide by its rules. We are all somewhere in the harsh terrain of the land, beckoning the guiding light and the angels' voices to lead us to the light of our Savior. And despite the cruel intention of the wicked who try to thwart God's plan, there He is, humbly lying in the hay awaiting our arrival. Innocent and perfect, awaiting our call to kneel at His side and bow our heads to receive His holy, undying, merciful love.
Have you ever thought about who the innkeeper in your life is? The innkeeper in the Christmas story is known for telling Mary and Joseph there is no room for them. The innkeeper obviously does not know of the miracle that is about to occur. In our lives, we will encounter many innkeepers, or perhaps we are the innkeeper. Maybe we don't want to do what God is asking of us, even if we know that it's what's right. Could this be because we have left Him no room in our hearts, souls, and minds? Maybe, just maybe, we can be the one innkeeper who opens a small area and lets the miracle do the rest.
I admire the shepherds because they were important but low on the totem pole in society, hard-working day and night, watching the sheep in a field, and humble because they had a job that was critical but unrecognized. But God chose them to spread the word of the birth of Christ. I see that my mom, my friends, even myself a little bit. We all work hard, and sometimes our hard work is unrecognized. But even though our work is sometimes taken for granted, God chooses us to do amazing things. Even though we are unknown in all the hustle and bustle of everyday life. God chooses us.
I see the characteristics of the shepherds in myself. I view the shepherds as no extraordinary people. I also view myself in this way. I am an ordinary being living a typical life. Shepherds are titled to guide a flock in a particular direction. I similarly guide a flock, or better known as my friends, in a particular direction, based on my choices. Such a simple yet significant task that is surely recognized by God. And just as God picked 3 shepherds, I feel as though he has picked me.
Joseph is a big part of the traditional Christmas story, and in my eyes, he represents 2 characteristics, strength and faithfulness. He represents strength because he always did what God asked him to do, even if it was scary or sometimes frightening. He also represents faithfulness because he did not abandon Mary or the plans that God had for him. Joseph in my life would probably be my dad. I would say he is like Joseph because, like Joseph, he represents the characteristics of strength and faithfulness. To his family and to the church. He represents strength by giving his energy to provide and invest so that the church knows that they have a leader in whom he can trust. And he also represents those characteristics to my family because we like to think of him as the leader and provider of my family, and he does that job very well.
Joseph reminds me of my dad because they share 2 characteristics, such as being strong and compassionate. Joseph is compassionate because he willingly traveled from Nazareth to Bethlehem, which was 90 miles. And opinions differ on how long it took to get to Bethlehem. Ideas differ from between 4 and 9 days. My dad would willingly travel more than 90 miles for me and my sister on foot. That is why he is compassionate and reminds me of Joseph.
In the story of Christmas, the angels brought light and hope. They spread the message of God's plan, changing the lives of the shepherds forever. When we think of angels in everyday life, we think of them as bringing good news and bringing safety to our lives. Sometimes it can be shocking or scary at first, but if we listen to them and let them into our lives could change forever. I can see the personality of the angel in myself because I enjoy helping people who may be going through hard times and helping them find comfort and safety in their lives. As the angel brings light and hope, I pray that I may do the same.
I have a Mary in my life, especially recently in the matter. My Mary is Marcia Cronin. She, with a lot of things that's been happening to her and Caitlin this past week, I really do think she's courageous, and that, taking care of Caitlin too is a brave thing. So I really do think of Marcia as a Mary in my life. I do have a Joseph. I actually have a few Josephs. I actually think all my friends are my Josephs because they, whenever I am down or sad or depressed, they're always there to cheer me up and stand by my side. So I always think of them as my Josephs. I do have a shepherd. There is one shepherd that's actually impacted my life recently, and his name is Joe. He works at the college that I am now working at. But he does a lot of great things, and sometimes it just goes unnoticed. They usually don't see that, but he does it because he loves doing what he loves to do. So I think of Joe as a shepherd in my life. I really do. I do have a wise man, and that is my father. He just loves to help people out, and they like having him help out in so many ways, not just here at church, but at work, in our family. He's just that kind of a guy that loves to go around helping people, and a lot of people really like that, so I think of him as a wise man. I do have a couple angels. There are two specifically that come to my mind that are angels of mine. One of them is my friend Brett, who I've known since 2nd grade. He was one of the few first friends that I've had, and he has impacted my life in such a really positive way that I'm still thankful that he's my best friend. And another one that comes to mind is my other best friend, Sergio, who has brought a lot of hope to me these past 1 or 2 years that I've known him. So I really do appreciate both of them being in my life, and I think of them as my angels. I do have an innkeeper. I actually have a few innkeepers in my life, and I think of that as my church family. They bring me in whenever I'm in on Sunday, always having a smile on my face, and they would go about their days asking me how I am, how work is, how my week's been, and they really have brought me in, and I really am grateful for that. So I really think of my church body as my innkeepers. The Christmas story, I really like that story because, especially now, after getting to know all these characters, it's like, wow, this Christmas story is kind of like my life in a way. You know, I have some Marys and Josephs and some angels that have impacted my life and are leading me down this path. I kind of think of it as my own unique story, and I just really like listening and reading that story because it's so impactful to me, and it's probably becoming one of my favorite stories now.
So I see in the Christmas people that I see in my lives, and I see a lot of Mary in my mom because she's very strong in her faith, and she just has to put up with us all the time, so she's a very, very strong woman in what she believes in. And I would say I would see a lot of Joseph in myself, because I usually try to help my friends, and I'm usually loyal to my friends in all that I do, even through if they don't want me, like helping them. My friend Alex usually doesn't want me helping him that much, but I usually try to help him as much as I can. And I see a lot of Joseph and Shepherd in my dad, because he's not that noticed, but he just is this wonderful guy, and he is not noticed, but he does so much at home, and he just loves all of us in my family. And that's all I see. That's all the Christmas people that I see in my family.
I see parts of Mary in my teacher, Miss Mag, because she helps me a lot, and she told me that she wants me to go down the right path, and so she makes sure that I'm doing everything right and that I get good grades, and if I fail in something, she tries to help me. So that's why I see Mary in her. And I see parts of Joseph in my best friend Julia, because she encourages me to do things that I don't want to do or that I'm afraid to do. And she helps me when I'm sad, and she gives me advice and a lot of pep talks. So that's why I see Joseph in her. And my shepherd is my mom, because she's always making sure that she is taking care of our family, and she puts them before her, and she makes sure that we eat before she does. She makes sure that we are wealthy and healthy, and she makes sure that we have clothes and food and energy, and that we have education in our lives. So that's why I see a shepherd in her. She doesn't really stand out. And my angels are just my family, because they're there for me when I'm sad, and they encourage me when I don't feel like I've made it through something, or they help me with my problems, and they make sure that I get a good education and that I am the best person that I should be. And these are the Christmas characters I see in these people.